All right, we are live. Hello, and welcome to Sunday Tea at the Candy Shop. I am Candace.
Hey, I'm Kanea.
Hey, and we are here together on the Candy Shop. So today we'll be reviewing movies. I'm drinking I'm not even gonna say it's a martini. It's Tito's vodka with orange juice. Well, actually, I'm sorry, not Tito's. I have what is it, 3 olives or something like that. The lady at the liquor store was like,
Oh
buy three
yeah,
olives.
yeah,
So it's 3 olives, pineapple with orange juice. And what are
yes.
you drinking?
I'm drinking Menage a Trois Chardonnay.
Okay, cool, cool.
Yummy.
So today we will be reviewing two movies. The first one is Antebellum. I want to talk about that first, and then we'll go to the craft because to me, and I'm gonna just tell a little bit. I feel like the craft kept my interest more than Antebellum.
Mm,
So we'll talk about Antebellum first, and Kanea, you can go right ahead. I'm gonna mute myself so we can
got it.
hear you.
All right. So, Antebellum is starring Janelle Monáe, and I will say that I think she is a great actress. I like her better acting than her music, even though her music is good. But I just feel like she has a better she can reach a better audience with her acting, and we need more women of color that has the skill set that she has on the screen. And so I just wanted to say this might be a spoiler alert for these two movies. And the movie itself, it is actually in modern day, but when I watched the trailer, I thought it was actually going to be some like a Get Out type feel where actually she actually goes back in time. But no, it actually happens in modern day. My score for the movie, I would say A. I love suspense horror type films. That is my top genre. And so it had me literally yelling at the television set. I was talking to the television when it came on. And I let's see, what is my favorite part of the movie? Um Everything is my favorite part of the movie until it actually gets to the end and the movie reveals itself.
Okay, so I have a lot to say about this movie. I'm gonna put on my glasses because it's about to be a reading session. No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
So Antebellum. So first of all, I'm kind of over the slave movies because there's more to our story than being a slave. And we've seen it over and over again. So already, like I wasn't pressed to see it. I didn't see the trailer. I just on Xfinity, I just saw the poster for it with Janelle Monáe. And seeing her actually made me want to see the movie because it was her in it, and I love Janelle Monáe. So movie starting off, she's in slavery. It was a couple of things. Like overall, I felt the movie was good, but it was a couple of things that I didn't like. So she's in slavery. In my mind, from the beginning, it's like you're thinking she's a runaway and it's set in that time. And then she wakes up from a dream, and it's like, okay, so is this movie about her dreaming that she's a slave? Or like what's going on? Because all this time I thought she was a slave. And then this plantation that she's on is like one of the harshest plantations ever. It looks like it's set in Louisiana. It's run by Confederate soldiers, and the slaves are not even able to speak. Like it just seems so harsh. And the movie opens up with two slaves, I guess runaway slaves, being killed and the other one being punished. And then you have Janelle Monáe like watching it all. And one thing I didn't like, they didn't explain the relationship between those slaves. They didn't explain why Janelle Monáe, how she knew them. But at the end we find out that of course she is a known person, so maybe that's how they all knew each other. But it just seemed like a lot of loose ends to the movie. Oh, and I'm missing comments. Hey, Hannah. But
Ah,
yes, we're talking about Antebellum, and we're going to talk about the craft. So if you have not seen these movies yet, spoiler alert, we're talking about some details in the movie. So when she wakes up from her dream, I was like, what the hell? Like, so we switched to today's time. She is very The movie was good at first. I was angry at first. Exactly. She was angry as F at first. So it goes to present time, and so we find out she's this author. So these are the parts that don't make sense. So if she, I guess her dream, it's like, was she dreaming and did she break away and now she has to go back? I saw the old crowd. But yes, Hannah, it's a new one, and we're gonna get to that in a second. So Janelle Monáe talks to the little slave master's wife, and so I was thinking, if she had the dream, wouldn't she know that that's her?
I
That
can
that's
I can I can explain that.
okay. Explain it to me because I was confused. Like what?
So the movie, I don't know, Jordan Peele. I can't remember what role he had in the movie, but so the movie is totally similar. It's like a big flip. So when you are, we don't do this because I'm not gonna say it, but you know who does this stupid stuff. You go back in time and reenact wars and battles.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what it was, but they took it to the extreme.
But this
So
this is my thing though. I guess my question is when she saw the slave master's wife and she called her and the lady was acting like she was a critic or an agent or something,
yeah,
and she just had that dream that day. I guess for me it's the timing of things. So was this before she got kidnapped or was this after she escaped at one point and now she knows, like it's so many
I
that
thought
I
it.
don't like that.
I thought it was movies chop it up. So they'll do present day and then they'll go back to what happened and then they'll flip it back to present day to mess up your brain and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. So I thought that's what they were doing. But
So it was before.
right, yeah. And so what
Okay.
happens was she had the meeting with the lady and all this other stuff. The lady was setting her up basically. It was some
Let me just say that
hating white folk. They were hating on her because she was prominent and things like that. I'm gonna let you go ahead and say what you gotta say real quick.
this is why I didn't understand if it was before or not, because she had a dream that she was there and then her husband was like, oh, you had another one of those bad dreams.
I got something to say. Oh my goodness.
Okay, go ahead.
I've had several dreams that I woke up when I was a slave. I am telling the truth. You know me. I have these crazy, crazy dreams, and I didn't think that I could look them up until I met you when we first met in 2001. And after I met you was when I started to look up my dreams.
Because
And
I
so,
used to look up mine.
yes.
Like, what
And
do they
so,
mean?
yes, I've had several dreams where, well, just 3 in my life that I can remember that I woke up and I was a slave. And so that was what intrigued me about the movie in general. I was like, hold up. So yes, I know it's other people who have dreams that they wake up that they're a slave. That's what I
So
thought that was happening
you
to
think
her
her
in
dreams
real
are
life.
like premonitions of her eventually going into slavery?
Right. Yes. Exactly.
Mm.
Yep. And so it was the Gettysburg, and basically, um, the white people were taking it as it was a sport, and they were kidnapping black people for sport.
It was certain things that made me think, okay, what's really going on? So when a guy Eli, who he's an African actor, I believe, I looked him up, when he called that master a cracker, I was like, wait a minute, they didn't say cracker back then. So
Right.
little things like that
Yeah.
made me think, like, what is really going on?
Yeah.
How did he know to say cracker? Because that's a term we used after slavery.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, he's calling her a cracker. And then when actually, when she went back to slavery, she saw that the girl committed suicide. The girl had a butterfly tattoo.
Right.
It was
Yep.
just,
She was. I felt now that part made me sad. I was like,
yeah.
God, at least she couldn't handle it because so the guy who said cracker and the girl who had the butterfly tattoo, nowadays when they be like, I'm not your ancestor and stuff like that. So certain people can handle certain things. Janelle Monáe was a fighter and she was a thinker.
Mm-hmm.
She said, okay, I'm gonna do this X, Y, and Z. The guy was just a worker. The girl who was pregnant was just there and she just couldn't take it. She was one
Can
of
you
the weak ones who probably
can you tell when she went to Janelle Monáe, she knew her, she knew
yeah,
who she was,
yep.
and now it makes you think like, okay, she was probably thinking, what the heck is going on? How am I a slave? Like, what is this? Like, it explains why Janelle Monáe looks familiar to her.
The
So,
part of the movie I hated the most was the
what
fact
part?
that she was actually getting raped, like for real. I
Who,
didn't.
Janelle Monáe?
Yeah, I
Mhm.
didn't. Now I know they were using it for sport and things like that. I'm like, y'all using it for sport and stuff like that, and y'all are really like legit raping and killing these people.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's the thing. We know it was like a reenactment of the Civil War, but at the end, when you see the people coming to the park, I don't think they went that deep into the park. They might have seen just the war part, but they didn't see the actual slavery part. And
Right.
that's what makes the movie so twisted. That the fact that they had this society going on, these Confederate people, um, making these black people slaves. Now, this is what's interesting to me. At today we always say this, slavery couldn't happen to us because we're so vocal, we're so smart, we know who we are. It makes you wonder, how were they yet able to get captured again and not overpower these white people that have them. Now I understand they have guns and stuff, but we can fight, we can take guns, you see at the end. So that's why some parts of the movie just did not make sense to me.
Yep. And I'm not gonna get emotional because I'm a really emotional person, but I have this persona that I'm just really, really hard and stuff like that. But I'm a very emotional person. So I had this conversation with Patience probably about um 2 weeks ago, maybe. And sorry, I was listening to the background. Good. And so she she was talking about slavery, and she was like, if we were back then, we wouldn't do XYZ right now. If that was us, we wouldn't do that and stuff like that. And I had to explain to her, I had to tell her, and I had to stop myself from getting teared up after she left the room. Yes, I was teary-eyed, but I had to
Mm-hmm.
stop myself getting teared up because I don't want her to, sometimes you don't want to see your kids, you don't want your kids to see you cry and stuff like that. So but I did tell her, I was like, these are people who had children in the situation. These are people who had parents in the situation. Some people aren't as strong as you might think that I'm strong, and so we can't blame them for what they went through at that time frame. And I told her, I said,
Yeah.
now I said, if someone was threatening your life, or threatening your baby sister, that they were going to harm them in order to keep me in line, I'm going to follow directions because I don't want anything to happen to you. And that's when she actually understood.
Yeah, but this is my thing about that. At that time in slavery, we weren't taught to read. They tried to handicap us as much as they could in order to keep us as slaves. This is the part of the movie that does not make sense to me. They were capturing black folks of today. And so today we know how to read, we know how to get together, we know how to fight. So it's like, okay, in this part of the movie, this is where she decides to fight. Like certain things, this is the only reason why I'll give this movie a B-, because certain things did not make sense to me. Like you
Yeah.
have to explain to me why they're able to be held captive the way that they are. And I understand that the senator, because the general or whoever was keeping Janelle Monáe was a senator. I know he wanted her because she was speaking out against black people in the present day.
Yeah.
So it's like with her speaking out from when the movie starts, it looks like she had ran away before. So my thing is, if you ran away before and they're recapturing you, when you ran away before, you did not tell nobody about this place that they were taking you to.
Oh, I
Like
see
it
what you're
just
saying.
don't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I didn't like the movie, because it's a lot of loose ends, and it's like, make it make sense to me. And so Jordan Peele was responsible for some of this. Is that I didn't know.
Yeah, and the only reason I gave it an A instead of an A plus is because it had my emotions like sky high. I'm talking to the TV and things like that. I can kind of relate to her dreaming and stuff like that. I do understand 100% what you're saying. It is a lot of loose ends, and it makes you think like, okay, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? Why didn't they do this? Only thing I can think of is why they didn't all come together if they're in 2019 or 2020 is because you totally feel helpless and lose hope like the lady did who killed herself.
See, and that don't make sense to me either. But I don't know. I can't say if I was put in that situation. Now, we were really put in that situation where white people are controlling us. First of all, we're gonna be like, what the hell? Like, I'm not allowing you to do this. I guess I'd rather die than you trying to hold me in captivity. I'm gonna try to overpower you, just like she overpowered the people at the end. So that's what didn't make sense. Okay, now you got the power to overpower them, but you didn't have this power before. Y'all couldn't. It was more slaves than it was those Confederate soldiers.
Exactly. I mean, you let somebody die. You know what I'm saying? And then y'all just do what you got to do. Just don't be scared of those guns. And then
Because
when she saw that cell phone, I was like, yeah.
so that was why I didn't like the like I gave it a B minus. It was suspenseful, but that was why I didn't like it because I'm like, okay, it just seemed like something that M. Night Shyamalan, the guy that wrote The Sixth Sense, he did Signs. This seemed like a movie he would have produced and written because sometimes his stuff doesn't make sense to me either. And so it just seemed like I just cannot imagine us today as a black people not being able to overpower them. And shout out to the election. Biden won. Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is the new vice president, first black and Asian woman as a vice president, first woman, and first HBCU grad. So I want to clap to that because people try to put down HBCUs, but let me tell you, this is where it can take you, boo. Because this proves that as a HBCU graduate, you can go somewhere. And so all those black folks that think it can't get you anywhere, those recruiters that say, oh, no one's paying attention to it. Do you not know most of the people that change the laws of politicians and people in power graduated from HBCUs?
Yes.
Oprah, Tennessee State, Stacey Abrams, Spelman, Keisha Lance Bottom, FAMU, Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, Howard University, Candace and Kanea,
Tuskegee University. Yes.
So I'm gonna get off my soapbox, but let me tell you this: we're here and we're here to stay, and we do things. This is what we do. It's nothing new, but I guess it's something new to those that went to the PWIs and those that don't have degrees at all. So I'm gonna send my
Exactly.
because I'm off my soapbox. But overall, Antebellum was a really good movie. I give it a B minus though because it just some things didn't make sense to me, and it's just like I don't know. Like I know they wanted the slave narrative, but I would have rather. I was expecting like a true horror slave movie where the dead slave was gonna hunt the masters or something. That's what I was hoping to see.
Like, can we
but
do
I didn't.
something like that? Like,
Yes, I didn't.
Did you watch Underground?
Yes, you remember you watched it at my house.
Oh, sorry. You know my memory is messed up. Yes, we need something like that. I feel like nowadays they're just trying to rush movies. That's what it seems like.
So Antebellum is a B plus. I want to move on now to The Craft. I didn't mean to put up Hannah's comment again. Hannah, sorry. So now we're moving on to The Craft. Now this movie, I will give it an A minus. So I'll let you talk about it first because I feel like I'll be talking first all the time.
Oh no, it's okay. So yeah, my score probably would be, I would say, a B plus. And I enjoyed the movie. I watched different movies during different times of the day, depending on how I'm feeling, because that affects how I would view the movie as well. And so I watched the movie earlier this morning around like 11. I feel like I was very intrigued in the movie until it got towards the end. It's always the end to me that feels rushed. I'm like, and so to me, the whole movie gave me like series feel. I felt like I was watching a series. It really should be a series, and they need to tie stuff in, unless they're gonna make The Craft Legend Part 2 or something like that. Like they can't just leave it where they left off, like 100%.
I think it should be a Netflix series, to be honest. I love watching Netflix. But I told you this reminded me of Euphoria. Euphoria was a show with, I hate that I forgot the actress's name, but the little mixed actress.
Zendaya.
Yes, Zendaya. Yes. So it gave me that Euphoria feel. I understand these movies now are trying to appeal to a younger audience, but what they have to remember with The Craft, that is our generation. The Craft came out in the 90s. You know, at that time we were, I think when The Craft came out, I was a teenager. I was either in middle school or a teenager. And so you have a lot of people from the 90s, 80s babies wanting to see the new Craft to see if it matches up with the old one. I personally feel like it matches up because you have in the beginning the little girl at first. And I'll say this: I'm not gonna lie. I thought they were just remaking it. I thought it was gonna tell the craft over again because you
Yeah.
have the four girls. And no, it was not like the movie at all. And that was refreshing to me. The fact that it was not the story of the craft. Now, I'm gonna just tell you a couple of things that didn't make sense to me. So I'll say this: the ending when she goes to see her mother, I that her the lady having the baby because when the original craft ended, that character was in the straight jacket. So is her father Manon, as they say. So I felt like it might be a third one because there's so many unanswered questions because you don't know who her father is. So I know the character, and I'm horrible with names, but the character that was in the original craft that was at the end who had this baby,
Yeah.
her father could be Manon because she wanted to be invoked by Manon.
She was she was
And do
crazy.
you know I was saying to Kennard all day, I had to stop saying it. Hell to the guardians of the watchtower. So I'm like, when I looked that up, witches do say that. So I was like, let me stop saying it. I'm not trying to invoke no spirit.
Right.
But but the movie itself was good. With the young man that they put the spell on, something about him was weird to me. I being here in Atlanta, I'm not gonna say that Atlanta is just the capital for gay people because it's gay people everywhere. But the fact that like when he was so called woke, it was things he just seemed like he was very intuitive to women and gay rights. When he talked about being a
Yep.
cisgendered male,
Mm-hmm.
when he talked about liking that song by some woman that was about women's rights and gay rights, all that. But what took the cake, this is the scene where I had to get my drink. I was like, what the hell is going on here? When they played that two lies and a truth game, and he said, oh, my mom got me this necklace, I'm a virgin, and they laughed. And I messed around with Isaiah. I was like, what the hell? You
Yeah, that was a huge bombshell.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what reminded me of Euphoria because remember one of the jocks was messing around with guys, but like harming women because he was gay. And
Oh yeah.
yes, that's why it reminded me of Euphoria. And I understand, and I'll say this is what I liked about Euphoria, or liked about the movie. The boy said, I like sex, or I like it from women, but I like men too. And that's where people get these labels of gay and bisexual wrong. Sometimes people are sexually fluid. Sometimes you might like being with the same sex, but when it comes to marrying somebody, you want the opposite sex. So you cannot put a label on somebody. And I think that's what they were trying to say about the movie because the boy, he even said it, weight was lifted off of him by admitting that. But him and that girl was kissing now. Hey, Tamisha, we're talking about The Craft, and we just talked about what was the other movie we talked about?
Antebellum.
Antebellum. So if you haven't seen these movies, spoiler alert, because we're talking about the different things. But going back to The Craft, I just felt like it really opened up the conversation of being sexually fluid because you
Yeah.
cannot today you can't put a label on people. People like who they like, and so at that time he felt he might have messed around with Isaiah, the brother, but he also liked the girl. But it's like you don't know if it's because she put a spell on him or he was really feeling her. To me, it seemed like he was really feeling her. So
Yeah,
that
and
part,
because she put the spell on him, they went to the party first, and then after the party was when she put the spell on him. I do think that was stupid that she put the spell on him, but we do find out that that's not the reason why he died. And
yes. Oh, I knew something happened to him.
yeah, I so the reason why I gave the movie a B plus and not an A like you is because I felt like they tried to. I don't know. I just associate movies, and I'm like, bro, are we watching the X Files? Like, what are we doing? When the guy, when the husband, well, the fiance, her stepdad, when he started coming into his role in the movie, and you started realizing who he was, it started to become cheesy. Now
Well,
the four girls, I love them. Go ahead, real quick.
I love the poor girls too, but I'll say this: I'm a person. A lot of times, I'm already spot on with movies because I watch a lot of movies, and uh, Steve, my ex, used to say "picture like a picture," so we watch a lot of movies. So When they stepped on that ground and she saw that snake, I knew it was something wrong with the man from the beginning. When she
Mm.
picked up his book and the book fell, I'm like, oh, he must be a warlock or something. This is what I'm thinking though.
Oh,
Like my thought process, because it was something about him that drew, it was something about the girl that drew him to this family. I know he wanted her powers, but because her father is such a mystery, I was thinking this man could possibly be her father, and maybe we'll find that out later. Like I feel like it's deeper than what it is because he wanted her powers. He knew she had power, and I just if he why her out of all the girls, because he could have got with one of the girls out with the other girls. So I'm
right.
thinking this is her dad, and we're gonna see another movie. But overall, I thought the movie was really good. It kept me very intrigued. The ending I didn't like when they were killing him, because I'm like, oh, okay, does he have power? Does he not have power? Because he was able
Exactly.
to, yeah, he was able to transform into the mother. Then when they put the fire around him and they dealt that hell to the Guardians of the North.
I feel like that part was rushed.
Yes. And so I didn't it felt cheesy when they were like water, air, fire.
Like, okay, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Like,
Yes. But other than that, I thought the movie was really good. Like
yeah. My favorite part
minus
of the movie was
go ahead.
the black girl, when they were doing the two truths and the lie, and her personality. I love her personality. I love the fact that
From
they
Greenleaf.
allowed her to have the strongest personality,
Yeah.
and
She
yeah,
seemed like the leader.
yep, she seemed like the leader because in the original craft, of course, it seemed like the leader was the crazy
The
one.
one that's in the crazy home. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it seemed like she was the leader. So when they flipped it, that was awesome. And she did the two truths and a lie, and her one truth was like she don't like Beyonce. I almost knocked my daddy on TV off the mantle, and
When
then
she
she
said
was
that.
like, I love Beyonce.
Yes. I was like, yes, boo. We love
Exactly.
Beyonce.
Oh, and then she was like, her one truth was she wished she had more
More
black
black
friends. And
friends.
so
Yes.
when I feel like they're catering to the younger crowd, Generation C, as we have it now, there's Generation C, which is I forget the years, but it's our babies
It's
now.
I think 2000 and now is that generation of these girls.
Yep. So they're catering to Generation C, which is good because it sparks the conversation to be had.
And I like what you said. I like the fact that this was a black girl that did not. She was able to be black in her blackness, and she
Yep.
was not trying to be white. She said she wanted more black friends. Like you said, they had her as a leader. Um, so I like this movie.
Yeah,
I
I
I
agree.
did I did feel like it was rushed, but other than that, I love the fact that unlike the first movie, they were very supportive friends. They weren't actually using this girl for her power, because in the first one, the girls didn't have no power without the fourth girl.
Yeah.
These girls actually seemed like they had power, but they needed this fourth girl to make them stronger. So that was the thing. So like I said before, the only thing that I didn't like is that the crazy girl from the first movie is the mother of this new girl, and that part doesn't make sense because it's like, who is this girl father? Because when the first one ended, all you see is her talking about Manon invoking the spirit. And yes, Tamisha, yes, I loved it. We talked about Antebellum too, so I say check out both. I don't know if you like slave movies, but it's a twist to Antebellum as well. But The Craft, I loved it. If you're a fan of the first one, you will definitely like this second one. It's nothing like the first one though.
Right. It actually made me want to go back to watch the first one, but the second one it didn't feel so dark to it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I thought it was dark a little bit. I was like, this is so dark because I knew that guy was a warlock.
Yeah, he was scary. I'm so used to him being so nice from the X Files.
What is
That
Archer talking about? He's sorry. He's sorry. He's sorry.
that used to be my show. I used to watch. Now I'm telling you when I watch dark stuff. I used to watch dark stuff as a child, and so X Files. I used to watch that every week, and so that was one of my favorite
Oh, so the
shows.
guy was from the X Files. I forgot.
Uh-huh. Yep. And so I was kind of disappointed that he was so cheesy. It was um I was hoping that he was gonna actually be on their side, but it flipped the other way. But the girl is cute. The main girl, she
Yeah,
was cute.
the main girl is cute. Like I said, it gave me a you for those that watch Euphoria. It kind of reminded me of Euphoria, even though Euphoria, we got to review that. And do they have a season two to Euphoria?
Not yet.
Because
I'm gonna look it up to see if a season
yeah,
2 is coming out. Check some of the blogs out there. But Euphoria, I was a late Euphoria bloomer. I just wasn't into the teen phase and stuff like that. But once I actually watched it, I was like,
Euphoria was crazy. And then
yeah.
imagine, not to put all my business out there, but imagine being under the influence, not this influence, but another influence. And you're like, what the heck is happening? It was one part of Euphoria where the way that I remember the scene, I don't know if you remember the, because one of the characters was a trans girl.
I
Remember
thought
when
she was trans. I didn't
the
see. I couldn't
blonde,
really tell.
you didn't know that the blonde was a trans girl,
I thought she was a girl though. I thought she was just
and she's
awkward looking.
trans in real life.
Oh.
And so there was a scene in the movie where she was almost raped by this guy. But I remember I remember going to work and telling my coworker, I was like, I hate that these 19 guys raped her. He was like, what the hell are you talking about? So in my state, for some reason, the number was 19. And he was like, no, that scene did not happen like that.
Yeah.
But that was a trans girl. The blonde was a trans girl. You have to go back and watch it. And Zendaya,
Zendaya.
um, Zendaya. I'm sorry, I'm pronouncing her name wrong. Zendaya liked her, but she didn't like her. You know, the trans girl wanted to be with a guy, but
Mm-hmm.
Zendaya wanted to be with her.
Oh
You
wow!
gotta go back and
You
watch
need to
it.
go back and watch it. Yeah, that
Euphoria was very deep.
I had to when I watched it. I had to make sure there were no kids around.
Oh
Literally,
yeah,
none
it's it's
whatsoever.
it's too. Euphoria is not a show for kids, and I know they make it for teenagers, but no,
It's
that's
not.
somebody. It's for somebody that's in college.
It's for adults.
Um,
It's something that need to come on Cinemax or
well, it was on HBO.
yeah, like that.
So, but yeah, so we're done reviewing the movies. I hope you guys enjoyed it. How long have we? I can't even. Oh, we've been on 32 minutes. What else do you want to talk about? What's going on? Like I said before, shout out to President elect Biden and Vice President elect Kamala Harris.
Yes.
So HBCU graduate, aka as well.
Yes, I know a lot of
So,
people are talking about inauguration, which is going to
mhm.
be up here, and I'm going out of town. I'm not.
Why do you don't want to go?
I cannot stand the traffic. I cannot stand the
Because
influx of people.
you can take the train. That's the one thing I miss about DC. When I lived in Gaithersburg, Shady Grove Metro, that's where the train started there, Shady Grove
Mm-hmm.
Station. So I could get on that train and ride it all the way to DC. And it was only like a 20-minute, 30-minute ride. So
The
that's
train
the
is
one thing.
the train is not the business. They have so many delays and all this,
What?
all
Even
those.
with COVID going on now, they still have delays?
They still have delays because they're doing so much track work. And then now with
Mm.
COVID, they have to. Right now, I don't know if they're still doing it, but when COVID first started, Metro they were on. Some people you work a week on, a week off. So they limit the people that are actually at work to limit the spread.
Well, I may be coming, Kanea. I'm gonna stay with you. I may
Do
come up
not.
there.
I was gonna go. I swear I was gonna go out of town. I can't stand the traffic.
No, I wanna come to DC. I miss my second home. For those that don't know, I moved to DC when I was 17 years old. Graduated from high school at Gaithersburg High School. Do you know there was a guy we went to Tuskegee with that actually I believe went to Gaithersburg at the same time that I did, and he went to Tuskegee the same time we did. I'm friends with him now. But I did not know that. But yes,
Wow.
DC was my second home. I love the Maryland area. It's just expensive to live, but that was my favorite place to live. Very diverse, very open people. I liked it.
Yeah, it's gonna be definitely gonna be crazy up here. I am happy that Biden and Kamala won, and all those memes that they're
What do
showing
you?
Donald Trump when
And
he
I'm about to say a
bad.
name, and he probably ain't watching this. But what do you think about C.J. Rollins' post on Instagram talking about Biden was a racist and all this other stuff?
I think that I don't think those are his true thoughts. Of course, he's trying to spark comments and stuff like that. I can always
I
spot it.
I
But
just started following CJ on Instagram. He had been following me for a few years, and I just decided to start following him. And I'm like, what? Like, who did you vote for? So are you telling me, even though they said a lot of black men voted for Trump, he seems like one of the ones that voted for Trump
he seems
based off
like
of
one
that
of the
poll.
ones that plays defense to build up his page
Yeah.
in Instagram. And so he posts both sides of the fence all the time. If you actually go down and look, he'll post one side, post the other side. But in relation to those actual posts, because a lot of people say that about Biden, talking about he was a past racist and stuff like that. Okay, who cares?
Mm-hmm.
We don't want Trump. This is my thoughts. Trump should have never been in office anyway. He was in office
Mm-hmm.
because the people who voted now did not vote then. They couldn't
Exactly.
decide, oh, I don't want Trump. Oh, I don't want Hillary. I'm not going to vote at all. Bruh, come on.
Yeah.
Like, get your life together. I've been voting ever since I turned 18. I never skipped. Never skipped.
Exactly. You know, with Hillary, they were trying to say her emails were from the pizza. Have you heard of the Pizzagate scandal?
Uh-huh. Yep.
I think that is so ridiculous.
Right. Exactly. And I'm like, seriously, you have you have stuff that you did, blah blah blah. No one is squeaky clean. I don't even think that's the problem. People put too much faith in a human being. They're human. They have a job
Mm-hmm.
just like you have a job when you go to work. You go to your
Exactly.
job. You mean to tell me you never took an extra long on your break? Or if you work on a work computer, you haven't done stuff that you mean to tell me there's things that you have done at your job that you never got a write up for? You just the best person and all this other stuff. Nobody's perfect. So it's
Mm-hmm.
about who can run the country the best. And
Who
Trump,
can get the job done?
yes, who can get the job done in the best way that they can get the job done. And Trump,
Mm-hmm.
he messed it up for everybody. I was gonna say the F word, but we on YouTube.
All
He messed it up for everybody.
right. You want to end it here? I'm hungry. I got some food that I want to eat.
Yes, me too.
So,
I got pork chops, spinach, and rice and gravy. I'm hungry.
oh, that sounds so good. No, I got some Chinese. So I want to eat my food.
Okay.
But I enjoyed doing these reviews today. I think this was a lot better today because with these movies were really good.
Mm-hmm.
Last week's movies I wasn't feeling.
Right, I agree.
This week's movies I was feeling. Tomorrow we will be back though for Mimosa Mondays. I'm gonna have me a mimosa in a mimosa glass. We're gonna talk about a little bit of what's going on. We might review Real Housewives of Potomac. I know that comes on in about 20 minutes. So we'll go. Oh, Tamisha, yes, say that with the president. So definitely make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Let me put my blinker back up for that. Subscribe to the Candy Shop on YouTube. We like to review shows. We like to talk tea. We also like to just have girl talk as well. So this Friday, I know this past Friday we had the fellas. This Friday though, we will have the ladies again. It will be ladies night again, and we're going to talk about some of the top topics. Also Wednesday I have a story time coming. I almost forgot, that's like my signature show.
Yes, that's my favorite.
I haven't decided what story I'm going to tell because it's like I don't want to incriminate certain people. But I have a juicy story time coming, so make sure you tune in on Wednesday. And like I said, please subscribe. So again, I'm Candace.
I'm Kanea.
And this is the Candy Shop. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.